Hey, what's up, everybody? Cat Kings here again for another fantastic and exciting video. So, we're going to go ahead and talk today. I want to tell you about some of the things I've lost to anxiety. There's been a lot of loss to anxiety, actually. More than I can tell you, really. Let me go ahead and start off. So, listen, this is the truth. Anxiety is a little monster. And to battle it, you have to be willing to do anything. Because it will take everything. Anxiety will cripple you and spit on you while you're down. You can beg, cry, or scream, but anxiety doesn't listen. I want to start by telling you some of the things that cardiophobia, health anxiety, and OCD, among other illnesses, have taken from me. The biggest one, the most regret I have, was my grandparents. When they were ill, I could have went to see them more. My grandfather had a seizure, and he was on life support for days. I wished so bad to see him, but there was one big problem. I had panic attacks so strong, so overwhelming, that they made me feel like I would die. And the comfort to dealing with these, I found, was to live near a hospital. I was living at these apartments that were right next to the EMS fire station. When I say right next, I truly mean right next. So that's how I learned to deal with it all. It wasn't healthy at all. And I knew that if I wanted to live a long and meaningful life, something was going to have to change. But it's always easier said than done, isn't it? I think that's the worst part, too. That I knew what I wanted to do differently, and that I wasn't satisfied. So then there was my grandma. Unfortunately, the same story would play out with her. She got sick. She was diagnosed with, I think, congestive heart failure. And the worst part of that was seeing how fast her health fell down. But despite all that, she kept a smile on her face, stayed happy, knowing she was dying. I think it's even worse that some of my family members were actively smoking around her, even though she was on oxygen, or that they would demand rides around places, despite the fact that she was in no condition to be driving anywhere. Honestly, it makes me cringe just thinking about how horrible they were around her, and that they chose to continue smoking around her, using her card, her credit card, etc. One of my brothers admitted to me that they used my grandmother's card, and they had to pay the bank back for it, according to them. I guess they thought that the debt would disappear once she passed, and no one would get suspicious why there were multiple trips to Taco Bell and whatnot. My grandparents, especially my grandmother, played a huge role in my life in the development of my morals and character. And she acted as a support system for me, raised me. So when I lost her, it was particularly difficult. Despite this clear sign that my health anxiety was stripping me down, this wasn't the only thing I lost. I had an offer to work for a very good hospital and lost out on that. I had a drive of over an hour, to some not very long. But to me, I wondered, what if when we got through the country, I had a heart attack and the ambulance didn't get me to me on time because I was so far out from town? Even saying or hearing the word heart or anything related to it can stir up bad memories and feelings in me. So I missed out on that. Actually, it's been rather hard to keep any real type of job for me due to all of this. I've also lost hard relationships to it because I was so selfish. I was internally focused on my symptoms. What was this? What was that? So hypersensitive, feeling every little sensation I could. So I wasn't present for my previous partners. What they needed or wanted, none of that mattered nearly as much. Often they had to carry the heavy burden of constantly being vigilant. They weren't my partners, they were my caretakers. And it's not fair to other people when they also need to live life, hang out with friends, work to pay bills, go to college, etc. Without saying the same goes for friendships too. I lost a lot of those as well. I've also lost years of my life to this because I was simply just existing. While all the people around me were riding roller coasters and going to movies, I was sitting at home constantly checking my vitals. The hospital bed became my best friend. I have spent many, many nights here. And I also felt normal again when I was there. Heck, some of my favorite memories are there. I'll give you a recent one. I went there yesterday with tight squeezing. So sure it might be something. It must be something. It probably is something. Got there. Blood pressure started off at 150 something for the systolic. As time went on, the final rating was 125-ish for the systolic. I believe this was a little before I was going to get discharged. But I was there for some time, and I really enjoyed watching American Dad. I've seen it on the TV more than once, and watched the episodes. I saw a rerun of one where Stan tries to befriend a senator, only to discover the meaning of family. Or the most recent episode of Friday Night SmackDown, with Roman Reigns being champion with Paul Heyman, and two other dudes whose names escape me at the current moment. I joked with my partner. It's kind of like my one true home. It's like the like the perfect studio apartment. With the people there, they were actually quite nice and loving, most of them. And if I could, I would happily live there. But alas, I did not get that opportunity. I also lost the ability to enjoy little things, such as caffeine or going on walks. I used to live out in the country, pretty far away from everywhere else, actually, especially the hospital. And I was just fine for many years of my life. I'll talk about what kind of was the changing point for that in the next video. But for now, let's get back on track. I'm not endorsing this by any means, but I will go a little bit into detail here. I used to smoke pot, amongst other things, pretty heavily and regularly, and use cigarettes. Despite everything, bad health anxiety has given me some good things. I know. It helped me quit smoking, work out regularly, and drop weight. At one point, I was over 200 pounds, and now I currently weigh 149.4 pounds, according to the scale today, as of this Friday, which is a huge thing. I still plan to drop another 20-30 pounds, and then I will maintain that body weight probably long term, if not permanently. Probably leaning towards 20 pounds. I think I'll try landing at least at 135 pounds on the dot at least. And it also helped me gain more initiative in educating myself about finding the right doctors, preventative method, and screening. Also, how to follow a healthier diet that wouldn't make me feel like crap. Because before health anxiety, I used to eat like crap. I worked at Pizza Hut for a few years. I would regularly eat half of a medium thin crust pizza to myself. And I just knew that was not healthy for me at all. And it was good that I stopped doing all these harmful behaviors at such an early age. Because many people don't. And they then pay the price 10, 20, 30 years later. Some never make a full recovery. Some never get to live once the consequences rear their ugly head. To beat anxiety, you have to be willing to risk everything because it will take everything. Thank you. More to come on this journey, guys. Peace.